Welcome back to the AI Ripple Effect podcast. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Elisa Harmon, account manager at Ruan Transportation Management Systems. Elisa, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me today.
Fantastic. Well, why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we'd love to hear more about Ruan and the origins of the business and where you are today.
Thank you. My name is Elisa, and I have about 28 years in the industry for logistics. I started out deciding to switch gears from the nursing industry to doing something that was completely out of the norm, and I decided to drive truck. I have a couple years behind me of driving between flatbeds and van freight, and then went into the offices and decided to learn the LTL industry. For 8 years, I was an operations manager for Bullet Warehouse and Logistics out of California, managed 3 different warehouses, the local drivers, and all of the LTL, the logistics department. From there, I decided, let's just try another thing. And I became a agent broker for Excel Transportation. Did that for 9.5 years, was very successful in moving food grade products. And then from there, I kind of just went into more of an independent role of asset sales. So selling more for asset-based companies. And then recently, in the last 5.5 years, I've been at Ruan, started as a logistics sales specialist and now into account management.
Thanks, Lisa. That's exactly the kind of background we like on the show. So looking forward to conversation. We tend to start by asking a bit of a broader sort of question about, get a temperature check from our guests on what the main themes are out there right now across the sectors.
Okay.
I mean, what are you seeing out there in terms of like trends and themes? From kind of trade through to tariffs even, and just what's causing.
Yeah, currently the market has been slow. What we have noticed is a huge change currently with our inbound of ocean containers coming in, which is causing a slow with the logistics side of that, which is all those businesses that handle the drayage to the warehousing to transloading. A lot of those drivers and stuff are also going now into the mainstream doing local work, which is taken away from the drivers who were doing the local work. We are seeing a very soft market, which means that the cost of doing business as a carrier is very soft, which means the profit margins are very low. So it's really, really driving the cost of transportation down, which is great, I guess, for shippers, but it's not great for the longevity of the industry because, yeah, as we all know, transportation, things break, things need to be maintained, they need to be upgraded, and that was definitely causing a slow. Personally, for me, I did not see the uptick that we generally see in August and September, basically from the food grade going out for the holiday season all the way into what's coming in the ports. But freight is moving. We are moving freight. We are taking care of customers here within the 48 main states. That's what we specialize in. But we do see a shift, and we were thinking that it was going to have an uptick at the end of 2025, and we have not seen that.
Interesting. A couple of things there I thought were quite insightful. Was you talked about the sort of drive to efficiencies. I read very glowing client testimonial about Ruan that said that you help them drive efficiency through across their whole supply chain by really understanding their business. And I was wondering if you could sort of tell us a bit more about that. How does Ruan do that and help its customers?
It's honestly, it's about relationships. It's really diving in and sitting alongside of our customers, talking to them, finding out where we ask them, where are you struggling? And then we go in with our expertise and our team and look at where we can find solutions. I am on the brokerage side of Ruan, which means that we're kind of the catch-all. We will take the hardest of the hardest stuff and make sure we find the right carrier base, or if it's our own asset drivers, backhauls from our dedicated accounts, whatever that case may be, we find solutions. Ruan as a whole has been in industry since 1932. It has very much longevity. It is a private-owned company, and we have multiple divisions, and a key of that division is our dedicated fleet, where we go in and work on a contract, purchase the equipment, the drivers, and manage that from point A to point B and just really drive the costs down and efficiencies. The second piece we do is called managed trans, where we A company will not necessarily want us to use all that dedicated equipment, but then we threw that into our synergies and we're able to cover and maintain what they need and run like their logistics department. And I would have to say that in all the years that I have been in transportation, I am proud to say that I do work for Ruan because they do a really good job at making sure that the customer is heard, seen, and finding a solution to make it a better situation for them in any market.
Great. Well, that certainly backs up the testimonials on that I've seen on your website too. So they're actually, saying the same. So that's fantastic. Getting into the subject of new technology and kind of specifically AI, it's obviously transforming everything that we're doing now. Where do you see AI is potentially having the most impact in the transport business, and how is somewhere as Ruan in terms of adopting wave of change?
There's a lot of changes that you could take AI. They're using AI in the sense of not having drivers inside of trucks. I've probably heard of that. But on a transportation side, through our TMS system, I could see where AI could really work for helping match drivers with loads instead of a human eye. Synergies on being able to backhaul the trucks so there's no empty miles. Finding the best routing. A lot of this is already part of it, our regular TMS system. But with AI, I think we're going to have a much faster, more able to put the pieces of the puzzle together faster and be able to execute. That's the biggest thing, is to have all your options in front of you and execute that decision immediately versus having to open all these different windows and look where this town is and vice versa. Whereas AI could figure all that out in a matter of seconds and give you your best options. And I think that in my side would be just phenomenal. The second piece would be also maybe even in sales, being able to plug in everything that the customer is looking at doing and then automatically coming up with great ideas of routes and situations and how it fits into our own network versus the human brain having to do that.
That was actually going to be leading into my next question, which you talked about the Ruans being known for its collaborative customer focus. I guess you're saying that you see our AI as potentially enhancing the account management, that customer relationship management as well.
Yes, I do. And I do believe that that is coming into multiple different companies as they're evolving into AI. And it's all has to do with time, efficiencies, and lack of errors. And if you can cut on any of those, you're going to maximize profits and you're going to maximize costs for your customer.
Absolutely, which is definitely what it's all about, isn't it? One of the recurring themes in this podcast series is we look at the interplay between AI and new technology, and I guess to call it the human touch. And I know you talked about relationships are really important in the business, and I know that both employees and customers are front and center at Ruan. How do you balance that kind of need for new innovation with putting that sort of people first approach, keeping that people first approach?
Well, one of the things is that they're really big still with us picking up the phone and having a conversation. That is something that we're really big on. We also are really big on meeting our customers face to face. So using AI isn't necessarily taking away from the relationship aspect. I say where Ruan's going to move into the using AI is going to be more for efficiencies. It's still going to take humans to relate to other humans, to be able to be that phone call away to answer questions, to handle solutions that happen right away. I mean, it's logistics. Logistics means that if it doesn't happen, it's going to happen. And you have to jump on that. Now, we all use all kinds of different types of technology. We use the ELD in order to track our trucks. We use video in order to track what's going on. I mean, there's all of that. But if you can get AI to bring all those synergies together to give you an instant map of what's going on, that'll allow the person to be able to make a quick decision. Therefore, make that phone call to the customer and let them know whether it's something that's going great or something that's not going great so that we can correct it right away.
Fantastic. I'm trying to work out the maths here, but you mentioned that Rowan, I think, has marked its 93rd anniversary going back this summer, which is a great milestone for any business. What do you think has helped Rowan not just survive, but thrive over that time?
People. They really stand by people first. They source out great talents. They put a lot of energy and time into their employees, which in turn allows happy employees to go out and work with their customers. The other thing is that they really believe customers are first. We as a company believe that you don't go out and take advantage of your customer during those times that are maybe more for you and then suffer through the bad times. We go hand in hand with customers and we stay loyal and we work and we're very, very, strategic on what type of customers we bring on with our company so that minimizes our risk as well.
Fantastic. And what's on your growth agenda for the next 12 months, Elisa?
My great agenda for the next 12 months actually is to get in front of my own peers in our managed trans so that I can help them with what we do on the brokerage side and be able to help our customers even on a much broader level. I'm actually traveling to corporate office next week, going to go meet a bunch of people, sit down, have conversations, find what their needs are that we can maybe solve within in-house. And then the final thing is honestly bringing on more freight for the company, taking care of our customers, training different CSRs, working with my management team and creating a very strong account management team so that we can thrive when that time does switch. Because right now we're running lean. We're making sure that everything we do is tip top. This is my third wave in this industry. A lot of people feel like it's never coming back. It always comes back. And the one thing that you do during these times is prepare yourself for that. You use this time to educate, to learn more about your customers, to build your relationship with your customers, as well as work with your teammates to make sure that we have the synergies going so that we can handle that influx when it does come.
Fantastic. That's a good, sage and positive piece of advice for our listeners out there. With the benefit of hindsight, Lisa, and say if you had a time machine and you could go back 12 months, what would you do differently?
I'll probably be a little bit more aggressive in my carrier development and really work on our relationships on the carrier-based side. Because being in the brokerage division, obviously we use contracted carriers for quite a bit of our freight. 12 months ago, I wish I would have spent a little more time with that because it would make today's day a little bit easier in knowing what lanes to really step up for our customers. But even then, 12 months ago, we were kind of doing the same that we're doing today. We weren't at our heyday. It was sliding down. We all say, don't you wish it was back to COVID days? Not really, but in our industry, it was probably the most lucrative time in, I don't know, 2 decades. I'm sure that the new people that are coming into this industry was going, wait, what's going on? But I think we're coming to a point where we're kind of like hitting a level and, 12 months ago, I was just continuing learning, trying to leverage myself into a position at Ruan in order to where I could use my education, my experience, and really bring that to the table in order for us to grow forward.
Certainly sounds like you're doing that right now. So that's great. Coming to the last question, Lisa. So on a scale of, which is AI related, as the name of our podcast, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is no confidence and 10 is extremely or total confidence. How confident are you that AI is going to create measurable value for Ruan in the next 12 months, but then looking a bit further down the line in 5 years' time?
I'm going to go with a 5 at this point. Like I said, I'm not real sure like the direction that our CEO is looking at in the whole AI. I do know that they made it very clear that we are going to synergize with it in our operations. But as in for the people and people first with our customers, I'm not sure if we're going to go into that part of the AI as some customers or other competitors have done already. We tend to be pretty conservative, and I'm going to say that in a nice way. We tend to be a conservative company that really watches what is happening, and when the kinks and the little bugs are out, we tend to jump right in after that. A good example of that is when we invested lots of income, time, resources to the TMS system called Mastermind. And that's going to allow AI to help us even more because of the TMS system we had previously was not set up to be able to integrate anything like that. We are in that process. I just don't see it huge in 12 months, but in 5 years, definitely, because we have to stay afloat with like everybody else. We have to adapt. And obviously we know how to adapt. We've been here for 90 something years. Adapt through world wars, adapt through conflicts, different, ups and downs in the economy, tariffs, you name it, we're still here. I see us being adaptable.
Fantastic. Elisa, many thanks. I mean, that's been a great conversation with loads of great insights for our audience. If the folks out there want to get in touch with you, where should they go? What's your website, your socials?
I'm on LinkedIn under Elisa Harmon. Also, you can email me directly at eharmon@ruan.com.
Fantastic. Well, we'll make sure we put those links into the podcast description.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's been great. And thanks for everyone for joining today. And we'll see you in the next edition of the AI Ripple Effect.